I don't know the exact rules of what is acceptable. I just know that my system kind of does all those things, and that's why I do it, and it takes like 2 minutes. So I'll get a receipt, and rather than keeping that receipt, I will just use So you know how when you become a business owner and you finally get to that world where you can start writing things off and you're a little confused as to what you can write off and how to make sure you keep proper records just in case you get audited? Because for me, I know that people always told me that if I'm gonna go out and have lunch with somebody and I'm gonna make a business expense, I always need to keep a receipt. And I always wondered about like how to logistically do that in a way that made sense and was practical, because I move pretty fast. I mean, I eat a lot of lunches, I do a lot of traveling, I do a lot of stuff, and to like keep a bunch of receipts and make sure I have all that stuff in case of an audit, I had to figure out a system that really worked for me. And I'm gonna share that system with you in this video. So whether you are a new business owner and you're just trying to wrap your head around what that looks like and standard operating procedure, this is gonna be great for you. And if you are a seasoned business owner and you've already got some stuff going on and things are even a little more crazy, maybe you're buying a lot more stuff and have a lot more company expenses, this video is also gonna be for you, because I've built this up over time and I've finally tuned it and streamlined it in a way that works well for me. And again, this is all so that I can have the proper records in case something happens where I get audited. It's probably not gonna happen, but my philosophy is you want to run your business and plan for everything, right? And you wanna plan for it happening. So in the event of it happening, you're ready to go, you're prepared. You don't have to, worry about it. You can put your head on the pillow at night and sleep well and rest easy, knowing that you're doing the right things that you need to do to document these things in your business for appropriate write-offs. So that's what this video is all about. I hope that you smash the like button for helping me to put this video out there further with the YouTube algorithm and get some more eyeballs on it. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done that. And let's talk about my process. Let's go. Okay, let's start out by talking about some of the things that you can write off and what a write-off is. Now, basically, for those of us that are in the United States that have a business, there are certain things that we use within our business that helps to lower our taxable income by the end of the year. That means if you made $100 in your business and you had a video camera that you purchased for the videos that you make in your business and it costed $20, well, you could take that $20 because you use the camera in your business and you could knock that off of your taxable income at the end of the year, and you would only pay taxes on the amount left over rather than the full $100 of whatever you've made that year. So as a business owner, you have this great opportunity to buy things in your business, upgrade the level of the things that you're doing in your business, and you also get to write that off and lower your taxable income. Now, there's so many things that you could talk about further with doing write-offs and breaking things down. That's not what this video is about. This video is more about what I do to organize those things in a way that I can go back on, and if I need it, I can bring it forward. And this is mostly with the respect to meals, right? Dining out with customers, employees, catering parties, things like that, travel expenses. This is one of the big ones for me. I mean, I do a lot of traveling. I love traveling. Obviously, I haven't done a lot of traveling this year, but I'm planning to going out real soon and doing a lot of traveling. This is gonna be in full effect. My process, I'm gonna be using this a lot. And like meals, when you go out and you take your employees out for a lunch, for example, you can write some of that off. You can write a portion of that off. And if you cater an office party, you can write that off, right? If you take a prospect to dinner, you can write that off. But there are some things that you need to do in order to keep the proper records for a write-off. And you should talk to your CPA or tax professional as to what is acceptable, because I'm not a tax professional, but I can tell you what I have learned from my tax people. My CPAs are honestly like they're mentors of mine with some respects, because they're so smart with tax law and business and corporate structure and all these things. I'm always asking them, I'm like calling them up and asking them like, hey, can I do this? How do I do this? If I want to buy an office building, like what does that look like? How much of it can I write off? Or, does it have to be a specific type of loan or whatever it is? Anyway, I'm always bugging them with that information. That's kind of how I came up with this process. So whenever I go out, what I do is I will take a customer of mine for lunch, for example. Let's just use this. I'll take a customer of mine for lunch and I'll pay for the lunch, right? It's the promotion of my business to have lunch with this customer. So I'm gonna take care of the tab. Now, I'm gonna take the receipt, and what I'm gonna do is I am going to take a picture of it with my phone, right? Everybody's got a phone. Now, back in the day, people would just take their receipts and hold on to them, right? Because if you get audited, what's gonna happen is the IRS is gonna ask you to show the receipts, and there are different processes for different things. Some people say that you need to have the receipt and write the date on the back of it and the name and what the meeting was about. That's the official way to catalog and have a receipt for a meal with a prospect to be acceptable or admissible in a audit. I don't know the exact rules of what is acceptable. I just know that my system kind of does all those things, and that's why I do it, and it takes like 2 minutes. So I'll get a receipt, right? And rather than keeping that receipt, I will just use TurboScan, right? It's an app on your phone. What it does is it allows you to scan a receipt or any document for that matter, and then you can email it or put it directly in a Dropbox through the app. So every time I get a receipt, I just take a picture of it and I send it immediately to that Dropbox. So check that out, TurboScan. I think it's like $2 or $3 in the App Store, or you can just use your camera. Just use your camera, take the picture, email it to yourself, put it in your Dropbox later. But I like TurboScan, the app, because you can hook it up directly to your Dropbox. I mean, it happens in a couple of seconds, right? So that's a big one. If you're going out a lot and you're going to coffee and all those things and you don't want to carry receipts around, just do that. Do TurboScan receipt, put it in that Dropbox folder. At the end of the year, you can put them all in the year, a folder for the year, like 2020, 2021, whatever. And you just can keep that as an archive and have it moving forward. In case you get audited, you can show that. Now, with respects to an audit, right? I run my business in a way where I just assume we're all gonna get audited at some point, right? We're not even gonna be doing anything wrong. You know, we don't do anything wrong, but let's just assume that we do. And we operate assuming that we do. We keep the proper records, we run a clean business, we run a tight ship, and if that should ever happen, we have the necessary documents and details that we can provide the IRS or whatever company with to prove what we've been doing is legit. And I know that for me, that is a huge peace of mind, right? Being able to go to bed at night, put my head in the pillow and not have to worry about that. And if I were to ever get audited, that very night that I got that audit letter, I would still be able to go to bed that night with my head on the pillow, totally fine, because I know that all my records are bulletproof. And it all starts with something as simple as keeping your receipts, turbo scanning them, and sending them to the cloud. And that's an easy way to do it. And you can do this. It doesn't have to be with meals and restaurants. It can be whatever receipts you want. Meals and restaurants are great because you get those receipts then and there. I also have company credit cards which document transactions that you can write off. That's good proof as well. So the other thing that I wanted to mention to you is about traveling, because I do a lot of traveling and I was always wondering about this as a new up and coming business owner, right? Like if I do traveling, like I go to California, for example, can I write that plane ticket off? Or if I go to California to do visit my brother and then I go to Colorado to do some work, what portion of the trip can I write off and how much for, and how do I document that and what do I do? So what I do is, number one, anytime I buy a plane ticket or I'm going somewhere for travel and it has some element of business involved in it, what I do is I create an agenda. And you can do this on your plane ride if you want. You just take a little piece of paper and write out your agenda. On this day, I am going to be meeting with this person in San Francisco and we're going to be having a discussion about how to do advertising for his business. You put the dates and the times, and then you take your turbo scan and then you take a picture and you put it in your archive. So that way you have an agenda for your trip, right? And it can be a bigger agenda, it can be a littler agenda, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're doing, you just want to list it out and label it there. So that way, if you get audited and you have a bunch of receipts for, airline tickets, lodging, rental car, food, all those things, and you have an agenda that backs up the purpose of you going to a certain place and buying those tickets and doing those things for business related purposes, you can provide that, right? And TurboScan, your camera, they timestamp these things. So anytime you send one of those scans, it has a timestamp, date and time of when you made that agenda. And again, you can provide it to anybody who's looking to make sure that you were doing that. So I always make an agenda. And then if I'm out and about on that trip and I'm doing something business related, I will do the same thing. I will just archive my information, send it to the cloud, and put it all in that one Dropbox folder for the year. And again, at the end of the year, like I know I'm sitting pretty and I got all that information there, and it's super helpful and easy for my CPA if she ever asks me any questions about this stuff as well. I just give her the link to the Dropbox and she can have a look at it. So those are the ways that I archive and I categorize all of my traveling and my meals. And you can apply this to all the other things that you're doing and writing off in your business and how you're storing that information. I just know that when I was first getting started, I was always curious about that, and I'm always paranoid of things before I really know how to properly deal with them, right? Like I'm overly paranoid about getting audited or talking to the IRS, and it's only because I just don't know about the process, right? So again, I always act as if things could go wrong and I prepare for the worst, but nothing really ever happens. But I know that if it were, then I'm ready to go. So you don't have to be like me. You can just take my process and make sure that you have all your stuff organized and you have a system in place to, effectively do that and sleep easy at night. So if you got anything out of this video at all, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments below what you do to document your write-offs. Do you keep receipts still? I'm curious. I mean, that's totally fine if you do, or are you moving to digital? Anyway, that's it. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.